first?
I'll be glad to answer that. Let me tell you. It was Trump by a landslide. And I want to also say what tonight really showed was if Biden becomes president, as weak as he was during this debate, Russia and China will own us. Literally.
Dude,
they will come over here and
Dennis,
take over the country.
They already own us when it comes down to the money, man. So we already know that off the top.
No, I mean, like, we're part of their government.
And you got that how? Tell me how you got there.
Man, you say whatever you want about Trump, but, you know, he's an overpowering figure.
He passed that, that's for sure. That's for certain.
And Biden just looked weak, man. He just looked weak. Now, I know you liberals aren't going to agree with me.
Look, you said, boy, that's why you got to love Dennis. You got to love him. You liberals.
But you got to admit, Trump was on his ass from beginning to end. He talked about how his son, Joe Biden's son.
That was low, Dennis. You know that.
Yeah.
No, the 3.5 million was not low.
No, but he stayed on there because they know it's all he got left. That's all he got left. He didn't have. And if we go to fact checking, we don't know for certain because it hadn't been pulled on him. Just like so many things that Trump got on him. Trump got so much stuff on him that it ain't been pulled on. That's why he's still a Teflon Don to me.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, no problem.
I don't know if it was a low blow.
I'm talking about not the 3 million. The low blow is when he brought in his other son out the blue.
Yes.
When it had nothing to do with that.
But that was actually a fact. I mean, if his son was thrown out of the military for having a coke problem, and he gets a $3.5 million all this money from all these other countries, he's not fit to do anything. That was the point Trump was trying to make.
We got that part.
Because of his dad, he's getting all this money. Now, that was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But where Trump really got him was on two things.
I'm trying to be nice and make sure I got the moderator going too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he got on him about the 94 crime bill and calling us predators. You can look it up. I've seen the clip thousands of times.
I'm gonna bring it up.
He's a racist. Trump says it. He's a racist. But Joe Biden says it. Oh, we just look the other way. That's what we'll do. And
he said he had passed the bill, and he said, "I'm letting people out of jail."
That is factually correct. He has let out hundreds of thousands of people. Now, another good point that I know you liberals are going to just kind of, not want to discuss.
First of all, where you keep getting you liberals though?
I'm just speaking in general. We know you guys are not Trump supporters, so that makes you a liberal. But that's neither here nor there. One thing that I will go even a step further. His entire team should all be fired because guess what? There's too many leaks within his team. I have never seen so much leaked information in my entire life.
You talking about for Trump?
Like, yes, the recordings and all this and that. You're like, wait a minute, bro. I thought you worked for me.
Well, you know what? During the course of this election, and I have Republican friends and I have some what you would call liberal friends.
Yes.
I have seen so many of the Christian evangelical group who I believe voted for Trump. I'm almost 100% sure of it. But when it comes to having discussions on these issues, they are almost invisible and silent. And so my thing is, Trump never claimed to be anybody that he isn't. He's always proclaimed to be who he is. He's always shown us who he was. He never said that he was y'all Christian president. He never said that he came in to create unity between blacks and whites. He never said any of that. Tonight, he struggled to even denounce white supremacy. That's not an area that he wants to touch. That's not where his base is. Okay, I can accept that because I like a straight shooter. My issue is all of the closet Republicans that know they went in the box and voted for him, but now everybody's sitting back because I believe that they're embarrassed by certain actions and behaviors. And so to your point, I think that a lot of the information is leaked because those people don't actually believe in the vision that he set forth for the country, but they can't openly outright say that. So they are there and figuring out other little ways that they can get the whistleblowers information out or leak tapes or do all of these underhanded things because they don't really have the confidence in who they voted for. And I think, honestly, go ahead.
But I gotta make Trav. Do you got something you want to join in with this? Do you agree?
I'm listening. It's a skill to listen sometimes.
Okay, I'm to make sure we ain't leaving you out now.
No. So what I want to say to Jennifer is, Jennifer, I live in a very affluent neighborhood in Memphis, and it is, I would probably say, 95% white. Okay, and me and my fiance was talking. There are plenty of Trump Pence signs in my neighbor's yard. You know how many Biden Harris signs are? I kid you not. I promise you, I can bring her on. There's only one.
I haven't seen any, and I live in the suburbs as well.
And so when you say that Republicans are like looking down on them, I'm like, not where I live.
But not where you live, but based on the evidence of them leaking the information, if it's coming from his camp, then what is that telling you about the trajectory of his administration? They've got to be flipping, because why am I going to leak information about the president that I want to reelect?
I just told you I would have gotten rid of all of them.
Well, I tell you this, after tonight,
because you shouldn't have nobody in your administration leaking all that information. If I can't trust you, you got to go. So all of them would have to go.
Well, I tell you, after the night, he might be firing some folks, because if someone tell him he didn't do good, they probably gonna be fired. Trent, Jennifer, before you go,
I want to ask Jennifer a question.
Go ahead, ask her one.
Who do you think won
That's what I was gonna ask
tonight?
So I think that it was a fail for both of them, but I would agree with most of the journalists in the sense that Trump needed to defeat his opponent. It wasn't so much about him winning that as he needed to get those numbers pulling in a different direction by completely obliterating Joe. I was expecting that, because this is his comfort zone. This man is a reality TV star. I expected him to get on there and just completely destroy Joe Biden. But what instead happened was two pigs in the pig pen. I think they both got in the mud. They started talking about issues that are extremely sensitive to the American people. Trump spent a lot of time in his administration with the opioid crisis and drug addicts. And then he goes and attacks Joe Biden's son. That's going to hurt his base. The second part that I thought would be a little bit damaging to his base was him talking about the fires in California. And his approach to that was they should just manage the forest better, and that wouldn't happen. Whenever you have death involved and people dying, the worst thing you could say to them is that you should have did something better. And so I felt that those were two ways that he may have lost some of the voters that were intrinsic to his base. Now, two wins that he had was the law enforcement argument. When he asked Joe Biden.
He stayed on that.
Well, he needed to. I mean, he said to Joe Biden, name one law enforcement agency that supports you. And Joe Biden could not answer that. Right. And so I think that was definitely an Achilles heel for Joe Biden. If he does have some law enforcement supporting him, he's going to need to make sure that he publicizes that ASAP. But when it comes to talking about winning the debate, it depends on what kind of win you're talking about. If you're talking about a moral win, I've looked at Republican commentaries and Democrats, and both of them were completely embarrassed by the show that they saw tonight. And me personally, as a political analyst, I've never seen a debate as atrocious as the one that I saw tonight. There was nothing discussed about policy. It was completely about character attacks. But if you're asking me in terms of gaining voters, who won that debate, I think that Joe Biden may have swayed some of his base because of the comments that Trump made.
He did what now to his base?
I think that Joe Biden may have swayed some of those people who may have been on the fence or not sure that Trump was doing a great job. I think that comment about the fires, him talking about drug addicts, I think that he may have lost them, because a lot of those Republican families are dealing with drug addicted kids.
Opioid crisis.
The opioid crisis was huge for him and huge for the senators that supported that bill coming into legislation. And so the comments that I'm seeing is that was a really low blow.
It's interesting how we see things.